If you didn't have a dad in your life who taught you how to change a tire or fix a faucet, there is a YouTube channel for that. Rob Kenney has a channel called Dad, How Do I? And it turns out millions watch it for demonstrations and Rob's dad advice. Rob Kenney, the internet dad, joins us right now. And Rob, I'm so glad you're with us. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Paula.
Yeah, so cool to meet you. This is a thing, this was kind of born out of your own kind of saddish childhood without a dad. Tell us your story early on.
Yeah, without getting too long-winded about it, you know, my parents did start out well, so I always feel like I have to, you know, clarify things. But
Good.
Then there came a time where things unfortunately turned south, and my dad, my mom wasn't able to take care of us, and my dad, he decided he didn't want us. So he came home when I was 14 and said, I'm done raising kids. And so he said either the older kids, I'm one of 8 kids too, so I'm number 7.
Wow.
And he said, the older kids need to take the younger kids in or they're going to go to foster care. And thankfully I went to live with my brother who was 23 at the time.
So is this how did you learn to be a dad on your own though, now that you're a dad to millions through your YouTube channel? How did you get hooked to do that?
I think it was born out of the pain that you know, when I was 14, I made a promise that I was going to be the best dad that I could possibly be. You know, life gets in the way. I'm not going to say that it was easy, but that was my goal. And I feel like I married well. And then when my kids are out of the house now, my daughter's 30, my son's 27, and I felt like I raised good adults. You know,
Wow.
I didn't want to raise good kids. I wanted them out of my house because that was, you know, what was best for them. And I was a little lost a few years ago. And so I kind of came up with this idea of Dad, How Do I? I'm so grateful for the platform that I've been given.
Well, what an idea it was. We're gonna start rolling this video, some of this stuff. First of all, you wrote a book. You just released last year, Dadvice, Practical Dadvice for Everyday Tasks and Successful Living. And that's really what your whole, so we're showing the book cover now. This is what your whole premise is. This is what your life is. You've done, I can't even imagine how many videos, do you know how many you've produced that you've put on your channel?
I think 130 now. You know, my channel went viral when I only had like 6 or 7 videos. So
Yeah.
I didn't have,
I remember when you were on the Today Show with that, and what an idea it is, because I feel like a lot of us need this. Even if we had dads, that doesn't mean we learned all that cool stuff. All different kind. A lot of it's fix-it stuff, but you have other things. In fact, I want to roll, Rob. I want to make sure people understand what you do and hear your tone. So we're going to roll a little bit of this your video about how to shave. Roll it, guys.
Hey kids, nice to see you again. So today I'm going to show you how to shave a beard. This isn't exactly a beard, but you know, it's long enough where you got to do it a little bit different than actually just shaving with a razor. So I thought I'd walk you through that. But first, I have a dad joke for you. So did you hear what Sean Connery said to the lobster who wouldn't share his toys? He told him he was shellfish. So anyway, let's get started.
Okay. So as this goes, so we're listening and watching more of this as well, Rob. I love that you started out. Hi, kids. You picture yourself speaking to kids, children?
well, I kind of, yeah, I recognize that, you know, I've got older people watching. I have people, you know, saying, hey, I'm your 80-year-old daughter, and I'm 58, you know, so
Yeah.
I recognize that it's touching people in all kinds of different age groups. So, you know, I'm saying it because I think it's endearing to be called a kid. You know, I think everybody loves that moment of, you know,
There's something. Yeah, that's what dads say. Hey, kids, now we're looking at you changing a shower head. How do you decide? Do you get requests? I mean, do people write to you or text you and say, hey, please teach me how to change a tire? I mean, is that how you get your ideas?
It's kind of all over the place. I have a lot of content. I was just trying to, you know, create this channel that was a night. Again, I've said this enough on my interviews that I thought I was just going to have 30 or 40 people following me, and I was going to try to make a nice tight knit community where I was just going to try to share some nuggets from that I had to learn a lot of it the hard way. And it's interesting that you picked change a tire, because that was actually early on. Somebody actually requested that, and I thought, well, I can do that. That'll be my next one, and I did that. Now I don't have the bandwidth to necessarily, do them quite as quickly, but I do make notes when people ask for certain things.
I think we're looking at all different kinds of things. You're putting the windshield wipers on a car. We saw you figuring out showing how to install a kitchen faucet. So these are all, I mean, they're not necessarily dad things, but they're handyman things. Have you always been a handyman, like you could fix anything?
Well, not early on. I share that in my book, actually. I was a little intimidated. When we moved into the house I'm in now, we needed a fence because we had a dog that, was an escape artist. And so I had to build the fence, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I called my brother, kind of, researched a little bit. It's a little easier now because there's so much on YouTube that you can research. But back in the day, I didn't really have that. So it was a little intimidating, but once I was done, I was like, hey, as long as I paid attention, made sure things were level, I can do this.
Yeah.
And so
well, Rob, but what you have that Google doesn't have is that you've got this warmth and this personality that comes through, and people just want to watch you. And that's what it's about when you're on screen. I mean, you've got to kind of jump through that screen at people, and that is definitely what you have. The dad that we would all love to have. And so yeah, so there you are, Rob Kenney. Folks, over 4 million subscribers to this YouTube channel, which is Dad, How Do I? So if you guys have never ever heard of Rob, you're going to want to look him up now and check out these videos and you can go through the whole file and figure out what you want to know. And Rob's going to teach it to you in a fun, warm way. So we appreciate you for all of that. Happy Father's Day, even though it's way past Father's Day, but Rob, it was great to meet you.
Well, thanks, Paula. I really appreciate your kind words, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you.